Well, they didn't know I was flying till long after I'd been flying. They wouldn't even let me drive the car. But I was sure flying my pants off, I'll tell you that. I was about 16 years of age, went to the airport. One day Roscoe Turner came in. I grabbed a rag and started wiping off his windshield. And he came out, and boy, he was a big man. He said, "Would you like to sit in the cockpit?" I knew from that day on exactly what I wanted to do. But unfortunately, when I took my first lesson at 16, I was airsick every time I flew. And once I soloed, then I asked somebody to teach me how to do aerobatics. There wasn't anybody around that knew anything about aerobatics. So I'd just be more daring, and I'd pull up and go over and come down and keep going up steeper and steeper until finally I was doing loops. Each one of those maneuvers I would keep doing until I got over the nausea. My first ride in flying school was by an instructor by the name of Bart Renault. And we were flying Stearmans. And so he said, "Would you like to see a roll?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And so he did a roll. And he said, "Would you like to try it?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Where'd you learn how to do that?" And I said, "I taught myself." He says, "What else can you do?" And I said, "Well, I can stop the roll in 4 different positions." And he said, "Show me." And I did. He said, "Well, what else can you do?" I said, "Well, I can do it 8 times. I can stop it 8 times. And he said, "Come on now, what else?" And I said, "Well, how about 16 times? And he went in to see the commandant, and he said, "Sir, I've got a student that," he said, "I can't believe him." And he said, "Well, just wash him out." And he said, "You don't understand. He can fly better than I can or anybody on this airfield." I was selected to be in charge of 67 fighter pilots at 20 years of age. And we all went over to England, and we flew Spitfires. And then when we invaded North Africa, I was still in charge of the 67 pilots, and off we went to Africa. Because of my experience, I was the first selected, and I thought, oh boy, I'm going right into combat again. And they said, "You got so much experience, we're going to bring airplanes overseas in crates, and you're going to fly them, check them out, and make sure they're ready for combat after they've been assembled." And I was terribly disappointed. But it turned out to be the best experience that could ever happen to me. And that led to a lot of experience and mishaps that probably most pilots would never get in a whole lifetime because, well, belly landings were routine. And we were flying so many different types of airplanes that have battle-damaged bombers. And so I would take those up and make sure they were repaired properly and flying okay. And I had to bail out 2 bomber crews because of mishaps, and managed to get both airplanes on the ground by myself. And I flew the first 60 Mustangs that came into Africa. I got in 59 combat missions before getting shot down. A lot of us got outside, but only to be captured just immediately with the dogs running at you. And I gained a pretty good reputation because I was always going at the fence. I took a bucket of muddy water and threw it on the German colonel. That was a diversion. We got 13 outside the camp, got over the fence. That cost me 30 days in the solitary. The day I got out, we put a plank, got it from underneath one of the buildings, and put it over the top of the barbed wire fence. They had 2 rows of fence with coiled wire in the middle. And we put that across and got up and went across on that and then down the other side while all this fighting is going on. I went from revetment to revetment looking for an airplane that was flyable, but they were all battle damaged. And I found one that had a lot of holes in it, but nothing vital to flight. And I never even taxied out. I just went straight out of the revetment and got airborne and then realized the stupidity of what I'd done, because here I am on an airplane with swastikas, and I would be an easy target for some second lieutenant right out of flight training. And I figured I'd go till I hit the North Sea and then go west, and I'd be safe when I could see windmills. And I found this flat field and looked like I could make it all right, put the gear down. And I did. I landed. I went through the test pilot school and was selected to be the X-1 pilot on the first flight faster than sound. And so the X-1 was designed like a 30-06 rifle bullet, just put wings on tail on it and rocket motors. I was pretty excited about that assignment. Colonel called me in and he said, "You know a Captain Chuck Yeager?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And he said, I'm selecting him and you're going to be his backup. Well, I went from being terribly upset to being very happy, because I had admired Chuck Yeager. I'd never seen a fighter pilot as aggressive as he was or as good as he was, and he felt the same way about me. Neither one of us could better the other. And so we had great respect and admiration for one another. And besides that, we'd become close friends. And so when I walked out of there, I was uplifted. I was back where I wanted to be, because I knew he could do it, and I wanted to help him do it. I could still do my point rolls just as well as I did when I was 20 years of age. And that's sort of a nice, warm feeling to think that you can still do it with that many years under your belt. The many wonderful people that I've had the pleasure of associating with and admiring and respecting, and each one of them have made a contribution toward whatever success I've had.